I'm just going to give myself a minute here to make sure that the streaming is good. And yeah, just want to make sure that both Facebook and YouTube are up and running with the stream before I get going too far. Okay, there it is on Facebook, I see. And here we are on YouTube, just checking that out. Looks like I'm live there too. Great. Okay, so I'm just going to check with my headphones to make sure that I've got, yeah, there's my voice coming through and there's my guitar. All good. Okay, so I'm trying a much more elaborate software setup today, just to try to make things even groovier than they already were. I won't get into it too crazily. I'll tell you later sort of what I ended up doing, but I'm going to start off with a tune. By the way, hello. I really said hello. Hello. This show is being sponsored by the guitar program at Dalhousie University's Fountain School of the Arts, so of the Performing Arts. So we thank them tonight. I'm not going to bug you for contributions because they were kind enough to sponsor the show. And I'm just going to play a bunch of tunes and we'll see what happens. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you. I see that people are joining in. I'm going to try my best to take a look every once in a while at your comments as they come in. I decided, my studio space is small, and I decided to give my dear wife, Brooke Miller, the night off. She's been doing all kinds of tech work all week, so I wanted to make sure that she just got a chance to sit back tonight. So I'm doing everything myself tonight, but I'll try my best. I see Mike, you're dialing in from Adelaide in South Australia. That's fantastic. Adelaide. Great. All right, so here's a tune of mine called Catherine. I wrote this tune a very long time ago now. I realize it was 35 years ago. Crazy. Yeah, I was 9. Yeah, thank you for listening. That was called Catherine. I wrote that tune in 1986. Mm. Evening cappuccino or espresso. Stay awake. So I'm going to try to get on here and just see what people are saying and to say a few hellos. Might be nice. Let's just see here. Hi, Mike Bosha. I got to take my glasses off. I can't see with these on. Say hi, Kate. T. Milrose. How you doing? And hello to Australia. Oh yeah, right. Turn the microphone on, Don. That helps. All right. Oh, there we go. Hey, my dad is saying hello. That's very nice. And my dear 92-year-old father lives in Nova Scotia. And Jonathan Lavoie, yeah, you'll catch it later. That's great. Got it. Upon completion of Music 2007, Dalhousie promised I'd be able to do this. Very nice. Hi, Andrew Nish. David Nitz, my guitar student from Minnesota. Really nice. And yes, hi, George. Good to see you here. That's fantastic. That's nice to see so many people. Max Payne. I'm glad you enjoyed that one, Max. Denise. Hi, Denise. So nice to see you here. Mitch Ross, how you doing? Cool. Martin, hey, really nice to see you here, Martin. My wife's Uncle Martin's online. Let's see. Oh, hi, Martin Richard. Really nice to see you here. So there's a good cross-section of people from all over the world chiming in and listening. It's great. I'll try to remember to turn my mic back on between songs. So yes, that piece was Catherine. So just to explain, I spent pretty much all afternoon today researching ways to improve, to make my streaming concerts even better. Because of course we've been in the sort of streaming concert land for over a year now, and I think they're here to stay. I think even if things get kind of a little less COVID-y out there, I think streaming concerts have really established themselves. And the nice thing about what's happening is that there's more and more software that makes things a lot easier to do. So I'm using for my actual video, I'm just using one camera, but I'm actually using my iPhone, which has a great camera in it, and the phone is going through a piece of software that allows it to be used as a webcam and use a 1080p feed, which is nice. It looks better than a lot of webcams do. And then I'm also able to stream my music by using my rig that I normally use, and then going through a couple of pieces of software that allow me even to broadcast in stereo, which is nice. So when I kick in my, if you're listening on headphones or if you're listening on stereo speakers, that's the way to listen tonight. Because whenever I use my chorus pedal or something like that, you'll hear some stereo bounce between the two speakers. And of course, even my reverb that is on most of the time is stereo reverb. So you get to hear all kinds of juicy effects. I'm not a big effect user, but the ones that are there, you'll get to hear better that way. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. I know it's been a real rough time lately in a lot of places. My wife and I are really privileged to live in a place like Prince Edward Island, which has kept COVID very under control. So it's quite a safe place to live. We actually went to a movie at a cinema last week, and we went out for dinner for the first time in 15 or 16 months. Crazy. You can actually do things like that here. And it's wonderful. So if everyone can just get on board and be careful and see this thing through to a quicker finish, then we can all get back to at least something closer to what we used to know as normal. So, of course, this show is being sponsored by the guitar program at Dalhousie University's Fountain School. And so if you have any guitar-related questions, feel free to ask away, and I'll bluff my way through an answer. I'll just get in tune and play you another tune. Here's a tune that I actually wrote for a theater piece. You may or may not know that I have an interesting background. My mother was a First Nations person, so here in Canada, we talk about Indigenous people, the people who were here first, basically. And there are sort of basically three kind of big groups. There's First Nations, which are what used to be called Indians back in the day. And then there are Inuit. A lot of people used to call them Eskimos back in the day. And there are Métis people, who are people who are of mixed heritage, sort of long-time mixed heritage, mostly Francophone and First Nation background. So my late mother was a Mi'kmaq from Nova Scotia, and I'm very happy that she passed on that heritage to me. I feel very, very privileged to live in this part of Canada too, because this is where the Mi'kmaq people are from. And in fact, that's the Mi'kmaq flag behind me. I got to adorn that wall, which couldn't take any sound treatment because it has a sound foam on it already. So I was able to put a flag up. So that's a Mi'kmaq flag. You can't quite see the whole thing, I don't think, but the four directions are represented by the cross figure, and then here's the moon down here, and then on the other side, which you can't really see, is a five-pointed sun. And so it's sort of it's meant to reflect the two sides of creation, and it's all good. So I'm going to play a tune here for you that I wrote for a First Nations play called Big Buck City. The play was written by Daniel David Moses, who only just recently passed away. He was a great First Nations playwright. And this is called Big Buck. Yeehaw. All right. That was called Big Buck. Oh, here. There we go. Thank you. I can hear you now. It's great. Good to know you're out there. So, Big Buck was a play that was a brilliant play. Actually, it was like a farce. It was almost like a British farce style, but set in contemporary Canada. First Nations family or a young couple, just sort of moving into an apartment in downtown Toronto, and very funny. If you ever get a chance to see it, I don't know if it was ever made into a film or not. Brilliant. But I wrote the original score for it. Okay, so let me see if I have any questions here. Chris Darling. Hi, Chris. Chris is in Maine, if I remember correctly. A great broadcaster there. Asking about the microphone. The way I'm picking up my sound tonight, my vocal mic is a Countryman E6, which I've had for a long time. It's relatively discreet. So, depending on your skin tone. So it just hooks over your ear, and you can hear it sort of hit like that. It makes a little noise. Anyway, it sounds quite good, and it's very unobtrusive. You don't have to have a big honking microphone in front of your nose all the time. And in terms of what's picking up the guitar, all my guitars are outfitted with K&K systems, so it's a combination of a transducer and a microphone in each guitar. So you can probably see the microphone in the sound hole right there. And then under the bridge plate is a 3-piece piezo. And then that's sort of blended together through this preamp that you can't see. There's a whole bunch of equipment over here that it's out of the shot. But anyway, it's just there's a lot of stuff going on here. There's a mixing board, there's preamps, there's a sound interface, there's my actual computers over there, et cetera, et cetera. So, it keeps it nice and clean. You don't have to see a whole lot of mics in front of me, and feels really direct that way. So, great question. Thank you. Mitch said those harmonics at the end of the last piece are truly beautiful. Thank you. That's the end of Catherine, I guess. Yeah, it's in DADGAD tuning, and you can get some really great cascading harmonics out of it. Let me see what else I got. Hi in Winnipeg. Oh, is that Sandy? Sandy from Winnipeg. How you doing? Sandy's an old friend, lives in Winnipeg. Hi in Brandon, Manitoba to Paul. Timu, I just made my best acrylics yet, but it's 2 a.m., so I can't test them out. Yeah, these are phony baloney nails that I just I glue on, and they work. Thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed Catherine, David Nitz. And another stream. Oh, you'd love to hear the is-ought controversy. What a good idea. You know, it's funny, too, because I have to play that one with a capo on, and I rarely have one kicking around, but I've been doing a lot of teaching, of course, online, so I have a lot more guitar paraphernalia directly in front of me here. So I have the world's fanciest shove capo. I don't know if you can see that, but it's all fancy schmancy. It was given to me as a gift at a festival I did in Asia somewhere. I can't remember if it was in Hong Kong or if it was in Shanghai or where it was, but I was given this very fancy schmancy shove capo. But it's a good request because it's in the same guitar tuning as the last piece, so that's convenient. So again, another very old song. I wrote this piece of music. I wrote this one as a university student, so I probably wrote it around, it was probably 1981. And I was doing my undergrad. I was a university student again last year. I did a master's degree. Actually, I just finished it a couple months ago. I did an orchestration degree. But back then I was doing a general music degree. And I wrote this tune, and it sounded to me kind of like Leo Kottke Goes to West Africa. But the title of the tune, it's got a stupid name. It's called the Is-ought Controversy. And that's actually a philosophical dilemma. So it has little to do with the piece of music, really. All right, this is the Is-ought Controversy. And see you on the other side. All right. The Is Ought Controversy it's from my very first album. I wrote it several years before I recorded the album, but my first album was called Bearing Straight, Bearingstraight. It was a pun on the dreaded Bering Strait theory of how my people got to North America. Thank you for the clap, 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 Mike. And thank you, Kirstine. Very nice. It's so nice to see so many people on there. Oh, Dustin, how you doing? And great, Doug. Guitar seems a bit muffled, not as bright as earlier YouTube Live. Okay. I'm conscious, Doug, of the possibility of overloading. I'm trying really hard not to clip. So let me just check, though. I'll put the headphones on for a split second just to see how we're doing. But I'll give it a tiny bit more level, just a tiny bit. Anyway, that's probably about as far as I dare go because it'll start getting into the red and then get crunchy at that point. But thanks. Hope that's a bit better. You've never heard the original, but you know the 1234 version. Oh, yes, right. The version I did with Callum Graham, for sure. Really a lot of fun, that one. We had so much fun putting that record together. I did a record in 2013 with Callum Graham, great guitar player from Alberta, here in Canada, out in the west, but he currently lives in British Columbia, all the way west, and I'm all the way east, and we were just chatting the other day about composition on the horn, on I guess it was on Zoom or Skype or something. Anyway, we keep in touch, and we still do the occasional gig together when there isn't a pandemic going on. That was a lot of fun working those two guitar versions of some of these tunes out. That's a real trick, like when two guitarists work together, it's really easy to trip all over each other or to make things sound too busy or whatever. So, but we worked really hard. Great. Glad people are enjoying it. Oh, hi, Brooke. Brooke's upstairs. I see her commenting here. See the stuff from the Peanut Gallery. I'll check over here on Facebook and see what people are saying. I sort of have like 3 different sets of comments and stuff going on here. Great, Tony. I'm glad it sounds good. No clipping sounds good. Awesome. Come to Houston. Yeah, I was supposed to play. Well, not in Houston. I was supposed to play down in McKinley when the wheels fell off the world last year. I was on my way to the gig when I called home. It was crazy. Here's my quick story of my pandemic story. I had booked a tour well in advance that started in just one show in Canada in a town called St. Andrews, New Brunswick, which is very close to the U.S. border. And then I was going to just drive from there to Massachusetts and play a show near Boston. And then I was supposed to play in Baltimore the next night. And then I was supposed to fly to Texas and do one show at a really great venue in McKinley, Texas, and then fly back and do, I think, another show in Washington. Yes, I was supposed to play in Vienna, Virginia after that. And then I was going to pick up a gig or two on the way back as well to Canada. But anyway, I did the show in New Brunswick. And by that point, the WHO had just declared the pandemic, like the day before. So I was nervous, of course. I arrived and I was like, not touching anyone, no shaking hands, no nothing. I actually, after the show, I signed CDs and stuff with gloves on. I was like being really careful. And then after that, I did the show in Massachusetts. I got down there. And already it just seemed like a disaster because, the first 2 shows were really poorly attended because of COVID. And then my third show had already been canceled, the show in Baltimore. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just drive to Washington. I was going to fly from Washington to Dallas for my show in Texas. So I figured I'd just drive down to Washington and catch the plane in the morning. Anyway, I'm listening to podcasts all the way driving south. And I get to New Jersey. I've actually just driven through the north end of New York City and crossed over to New Jersey, and I'm heading south. And I call my wife, Brooke, and I'm at a Starbucks there by the side of the road. And she says, Don, look, as your best friend and as your wife, I have to insist that you not get on an airplane to go to Texas. And I'm like, what? And she says, yeah, like it's really bad. Like, and she says, you're in New York right now and things are getting really bad there. You have to come home. They're going to close the border. You'll be stuck. And I was like, uh-oh, all right. So I reluctantly started calling everyone and saying, I can't show up. I got to go home. And everybody was like, it's cool. You know, everybody's canceling. It was terrible. So I got back in my car and I immediately retraced my steps, took the exact same route back, got as far as Portland, Maine, took a hotel in Portland, Maine, and then crossed the border the next day. Ironically, the Canadian border guard only was obsessed with whether or not I had bought anything in the States. He didn't ask me a single health-related question. It was ridiculous. And then I got home, and of course then I had to isolate because the isolation rules were already in effect. So I had to isolate. We were living in Nova Scotia, and we had a house sort of on 2 levels. So I was living on the lower level, and my wife, Brooke, was living on the upper level, and she was sort of buying groceries for me, and I was cooking on a hot plate in our little guest kitchen. It was ridiculous. Anyway, so that's my sad story. But I would love to get back to Texas. I have a standing invitation to get back to McKinley, so we'll see if I can work something else out as well. Let's see what else people are saying. Oh, hi, Minnow in the Netherlands. Oh, my gosh. Well, I'm so glad you're here live. That's fantastic. And, of course, this show will be it'll be archived on both Facebook and YouTube, so you can watch it later. Great. I should play another tune for you and stop yammering on. Let's just see. You haven't seen me play live since I did a UK tour with Andy McKee in 2008. That's probably right. You guys sounded great together. I think you played at the Marquee in someone's farm in deepest, darkest Somerset. Yes, I remember that gig. It was fun. And I remember Radiohead had just released In Rainbows, and this big old manor house that they recorded the entire album in was a couple of miles away. So we actually went and visited. The fellow who hired Andy and me to play at that show had catered the sessions for Tom York and crew. So that was pretty funny to hear some of the stories. It was really interesting. All right, great. Well, so nice for people to check in. Oh my gosh, hello in the Ukraine. Isn't that lovely? All the way from Kiev. That's fantastic. And Salt Lake City. Wow, would I ever like to get to some of these places? I've been to most places in the world, but I have never been to Salt Lake City. So one of these days I'll get there. Let's maybe I'll sing you a tune. This is a Bruce Cockburn song. Bruce Cockburn is one of my big music heroes. Canadian guitarist and songwriter. He lives in San Francisco now, but he's originally from Ottawa, Ontario. And my last studio album that I put out, I did a version of his song called Mama Just Wants to Barrel House all night long. I was up the road on Easy Street, watching everybody stand around and cheat. Man comes up and says, move along back to the corner where you belong. But Mama just wants to borrow a house all night long. I hear the city singing like some siren choir. Some fool tried to set this town on fire. TV preacher screams, come on along. I feel like Fay Ray, face to face with King Kong. But Mama just wants to borrow a house all night long. Mama just wants to Barrel House all night long. Sometimes I've wondered what I am. Feel like I'm living in a hologram. Doesn't seem to matter what's right or wrong. Everybody's grabbing in, coming on strong. But Mama just wants to Barrel House all night long. Mama just wants to Barrel House all night long. Mama just wants to all night long. Yeehaw. All right. Bruce Coburn. Great tune by him. Mama Just Wants to Barrel House All Night Long. Also one of the longer titles you'll ever hear. So there's been lots in the pipeline. You may have seen posts of mine on Facebook where I kind of decided to fess up and admit that something that I've been thinking for a while. And that's that, you know, I've been doing the same thing for a living for over 30 years. And when I started doing this, it was hard. It was really hard to get going. Hard to build up steam, hard to get your name out there, all that kind of stuff. There was no internet, so there's no sort of instant communication about music and what you're up to. So you really have to do things the slow way and the hard way and tour a lot and keep being in people's faces. But I was very fortunate that at least here in Canada, I had a lot of support from things like the CBC, our national broadcaster. They did a lot to promote my music both on radio and television. And so that helped me book tours across Canada. And then eventually I started getting invitations to play outside of Canada and did a lot of tours in Germany especially. And then when Amazon.com came along and the internet and all that kind of stuff, then my records started getting sold on Amazon. And that was sort of like a way to get gigs in places like Asia. I started getting invitations to play in Taiwan and Japan and China and all these places. It was great. You know, things just kept rolling along. And then Napster happened and kind of the bottom fell out of the music business. And it's been a slow death, for the last 20 years. And it's gotten to the point now where musicians have very few income streams left of the traditional ones. Like recordings, there's almost no money in it anymore, unless you get millions and millions and millions and millions of streams, which is really difficult to get because they each pay very little. And touring, ticket sales, ticket prices, especially for anything that isn't Ariana Grande, the ticket prices have barely moved for many years. And meanwhile, the price of a house goes up, by a third every year. So, there's no kind of economic future in the model that I was living for a long time. So a couple of years ago, I decided to go back to school, and I ended up taking this orchestration degree. And I decided to get more into writing music for films, television, games, that kind of thing. And I learned how to orchestrate and learned how to make really realistic sounding orchestrations right here in this room. It's incredible, all the gear in here. But anyway, it makes a really great result. And you've maybe heard some of those things that I've posted online. So I finally just finished my first film score contract. Just handed in the last bit of music a couple weeks ago and got paid already. And it's great. And I didn't have to get on an airplane to do it. I'm also the music director for a new video game that's in development. So that's cool. Just started writing the music for that too. Plus, I'll be working with other composers, and we'll all be contributing to that. So, long story short, I won't be doing as much touring as I used to. I'm going to keep the life on the road down to a minimum. I'm only going to do it when it makes economic sense from now on, because I just can't. I can't work a charity anymore. It's just it was kind of getting to that point, to be honest. So anyway, I'm really enjoying this new. I mean, the pandemic was just kind of the last kick to make me say, okay, I was already in my master's program when the pandemic started. It was kind of like, well, now I got to stay home. Now I got to study, and it's great. It actually made it easier for me to concentrate, despite the fact that it was a rough way to have to do it. So anyway, that's a big thing. So I've made a big sort of career shift, adapting all the time, like you have to. Also, my wife Brooke and I have been working on a couple of projects. The first one we actually went to the beta with a few months ago, the Don Ross Guitar Academy. So we just finished uploading the last of the beginner lessons. We shot them, over the course of maybe 2 weeks, but of course then it takes months to do the editing, and Brooke's been doing the lion's share of that. She's done almost all the editing. So that takes a long time. And so we finally got the last of those up. So we're ready now to launch for real the beginner lessons for the Don Ross Guitar Academy. So we'll be seeing more about that soon. And also we're about to launch a Don Ross Patreon. So that's a nice way to keep in touch. And so instead of touring so much, I'm going to start making regular performance videos and tablatures and all kinds of stuff, and Q&A sessions. And for the top tiers, we'll have private concerts and all kinds of crazy stuff on offer. So check that out when that launches, which will be within the next week or two, we hope. Okay? So that's the Don Ross Patreon. All right. So I'm going to play you an old hit. And how do you like my, aside from the lovely flag, the stars and nebulae on the far wall there? My new studio here, my wife and I moved to Prince Edward Island in March. So we've been here just over 2 months. And I've got this great room to work in. And my father-in-law is actually the person who did all the renovations down here, Doug Miller. Hi, Doug. I know you're watching. And so the new walls that you can't really see too many of them. A little bit there, be sort of right there. You can see a bit of sound treatment on that wall. But the new walls are sound treated. And then the original walls for I'm in the basement here. These concrete walls have this foam covering on them that sort of acts as a kind of sound treatment as well. And so I don't have any windows, so I thought, okay, well, what can I do to create some mood? So I decided to make it nighttime all the time. A clear night at that. This is called The First Ride. right, that was called The First Ride, and I wrote that tune in 1983. That was the little retrospective of this show, and I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you very much. I'm going to take a minute to check a few more of your comments. Elfas wants to know what guitar I'm playing. It's Mark Beneteau makes my guitars. He has for the last 24 years I've been working with Mark. So this is the latest one he made me. I only took delivery of this one a few months ago. And I guess it's kind of it's a model that Mark makes that's become very popular, I guess, since we've been working so much together. And it's a jumbo-sized body, and it's a fan fret. As you can see, it's a pretty mild fan on this one. It's not so extreme. So you can see that the bridge is on an angle and the nuts on an angle. And this one's made of cedar on the top and mahogany on the back and sides. So it's a lot like my Loudon guitar that I played for many years. That was the same combination of woods. But his guitar, Mark's guitars sort of shout a bit more. They don't have that kind of mid-range kind of bias that the Loudon guitars tend to have, though, that are made with this style of wood. So that's a nice question. Thank you. Dustin Hoffman says, the Kettle House Amphitheater in Montana, and the wheels are back on the car, please. Montana's another place I've never been to on tour, so I should get there, eh? Yes, we know. It looks like the island is treating us well. Yes, we're really enjoying living here very, very much. Hey, Ritus, you're awake. Good for you. Holy smokes, Ritus lives in Stockholm, so it's got to be, gosh, what is it? It's almost 9 here in Prince Edward Island. So what's that? 9 plus 4 to Europe, 5 to Stockholm, I guess. That 9 plus 5 is 14, so it's 2 in the morning. Oh my gosh. All right. Good for you, man. Thank you. Right, I was in a band with Ritus when I was 16, 17, with Paul Myers, our good old buddy Paul. And let's see now. Where we got here? Mic audio is getting clipped. Okay, I'll try to mitigate that a little bit. All right. And Pada wants to know, do you know a song with a different tuning that's not very complicated, so it's easier to get a feeling for it? I'm mostly playing standard tuning, never tried other stuff. There are various levels of difficulty of some of the pieces I play. I tried to write, there was a project that never really got off the ground a few years ago. A publisher in Germany wanted to do a book, basically, of simpler fingerstyle tunes. So actually, I'll try playing that tune for you. It's out of practice, but it's a very similar tuning to this. And yeah, so the idea was to sort of keep it more achievable for people at a more beginner level. So I'll play this one for you. It's called Stop Driving, Start Playing. Sort of the story of my life. Yeah, so you'll get the idea. The tuning is F, A, C, F, C, E. So a couple of strings are different from standard tuning. The bottom string goes up a semitone. The fourth string goes down a whole tone. The third string goes down a whole tone, actually a lot of them. The second string goes up a semitone. So you have to change 4 strings. But none of them is too far from standard tuning. Okay, I'll try this one. Like I say, it's out of practice, so you never know. This is called Stop Driving, Start Playing. Well, there you go. For the first time in a long time, it's not so bad. There's always a couple of little spots in there that I can't quite remember. But anyway, it's a nice, easy tune. Even though it's in an altered tuning, the only things that are a little bit difficult are like this kind of move. But even that, it's a pattern. You know, it's a little picking pattern. And then learning how to touch the harmonics. It's a good practice that way. But overall, really simple tune. Yeah. I got time for a couple more questions and then maybe one more tune. Thanks, Patty. I'm glad you liked that one. Hi, Shane. Nice to see you. Hey, how you doing? Shane Hennessy, my Irish guitar buddy friend. We just did an interview for his True Fire channel, so I guess that'll be on sometime soon. Oh my gosh, you came to a show at the Mac here in Charlottetown. Isn't that great? That's Curtis. Really nice to see you on here. Hello, Shannon Quinn, you wonderful fiddle player, you. Nice to see you there. And who else is here? Ann, how you doing, Ann? Old buddy Ann from the Toronto days. And yeah, oh, it's so nice. So nice to see everybody. How long does it take to build up the calluses? 2 weeks into this course, and my fingertips still hurt as much as the first day. I hear you. I hear you, Charlotte. Oh my gosh. When I was a kid first learning to play, I thought, oh my gosh, this is just like the worst thing. Especially playing steel strings. And I didn't start on a nylon string like a lot of kids do. I just went straight to steel string. Plus, the guitar I learned how to play on had really high actions. You really had to press like crazy. And I remember just spending weeks and weeks going, but I liked the sound I was getting, so it was like, it's one of those things where the reward was the sweet tone, the sacrifice was your left hand fingers, in my case, my left hand, getting really sore. The calluses themselves, I think when I was a kid, I remember I started playing the guitar when I was 8, and by the time I was 9, the ends of my fingers were like, almost as if they were made of plastic, and they've kind of stayed that way ever since. So it does take weeks or months to get really strong calluses. And two, what ends up happening very often is sometimes from playing, you kind of wear the skin off, and then you have to regrow a callus, and it hurts. So it's a drag. I mean, I've been playing guitar for 50 years, and I still have sore fingers. So it's like ballet dancers complain about their knees all the time. Yeah, it's kind of like what happens. But stick with it. You'll get it. Yes. And oh, that's sweet. And I'm glad you enjoyed First Ride, Paul. And if you missed some of First Ride, of course the show will be archived, so you can watch it again on YouTube or Facebook. And let's see. Can you hear the Wexford Carol? Oh, I would play it, except it's not Christmas time. But it is a lovely tune, isn't it? I'll play it this Christmases. Do you ever play my old tune, Kehewin? Hi, Ian. Ian Perry's an old friend from many years ago, but we've stayed in touch. I taught music on an Indian reserve, a native reserve, First Nation, in Alberta in the mid-'80s. And I got to be good friends with Pat and Ian and their wonderful family. So can I play Kehewin? Maybe that's a good one to end on. I rarely play it anymore, but it's a fun one. Let's see what I can do here. It's in Dadgad tuning, I think. Yes, it is. I think I've only written 3 tunes in Dadgad tuning ever. It's so called because you tune the strings D, A, D, G, A, D. So this tune is doesn't really have a melody. It's basically just kind of a groovy thing. So you'll see what I mean. And I muted my guitar to save you some of the agony in case I break a string. I don't think I will. They're brand new, but it's good. It's good to do things like this, to do tunes that I haven't played in a while, because they say it exercises your brain muscle, to sort of bring back stuff that's way back in your memory somewhere. Keeps it plastic, That's probably all wrong, but I'll stick with it anyway. All right, I'm going to try this. This is called Kehewin, Kehewin. It's a Cree word. It means eagle, and it's the name of a community, First Nations community in sort of central, northern, eastern Alberta, very close to the Saskatchewan line. Here we go. Wish me luck. Another obscure one here. Here we go. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. Wow. Thanks, Ian. I feel 10 years younger already. Oh, that was hard to remember, but seriously, I don't think I've played that tune, and well, I think I put it on my Music for Vacuuming album. I think that's the album it's on, if I remember correctly. And that album came out in 2005, and I don't know if I've played it since. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. No good reason. It's a good tune, but that's nuts. Anyway, I'm going to take a couple more comments here and then sign off. Let me see now. Thank you for all your background. And did the heart good. That's great, Ian. I'm so pleased. It's so nice to see you guys out there. And oh yeah, oh Tara, you don't think you've heard it since elementary school? I wouldn't doubt it. Um, Fantastic. Wonderful. It's so nice to see all your comments. Oh, it's not on Music for Vacuuming. What album is it on? I'm trying to remember. Maybe I put it on. I know it's on one of my records. I just can't remember which one it's on. And bing, 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 bing. Oh, yeah, very nice to see everybody saying thank you. You're more than welcome. It's been really my pleasure to be here today with you. And I'm going to check a couple more comments here. And great to see you again, Martin. And let's see now. Janet. Oh, you really enjoyed it. That's great. You're welcome, Martha. Thanks for dropping in. And let's see, who else is here? Linda, thank you. Thank you. Brennan, fantastic. Good to see you. Linda, thank you very much for being here. Really nice. The comments are coming in fast and furious. You guys are great. Thanks for being here. Thanks very much to Dalhousie University. Don't forget, the Don Ross Patreon is starting very, very soon. Also, check out the Don Ross Guitar Academy. It's at donrossguitaracademy.com. And if you're a beginner guitarist, we have all our beginner lessons up now. So you can start at the beginning, the very beginning, and learn everything about there is to know about how to play the guitar, even what the parts of the guitar are called, how to get in tune, how to finger pick, how to flat pick, all that kind of stuff. So it's wonderful to see you all. And we'll do this again soon. All right. I'm going to say goodnight for now from Prince Edward Island. All right.